Who are we talking to?
Ourselves. Welcome to today's episode, and today we will be talking about the Disney parks, what is going wrong, and what we think should be going on to make it right. Today we are focusing on Magic Kingdom and Magic Kingdom only. We will be covering the other Disney parks in their own episodes, but that does not mean we might not briefly mention them during today's segment. A brief history for those who may not know, Magic Kingdom is the main park for Walt Disney World in Florida. It was completed in October of 1971. Unfortunately, Walt never actually saw the completion of the park because he died in 1966. And his brother / right-hand man, not mouse, Roy Disney, died 3 months after the park was completed. The Magic Kingdom is much bigger than Disneyland, and while Disneyland is home to Sleeping Beauty's castle, the Magic Kingdom has Cinderella's castle, which is the second largest castle in the Disney franchise, next to the one in Shanghai Disney.
Yes, and before we go off on our rant about things that we don't like or we think have gone wrong, let's just give them credit for a brief moment for making the announcement this week that they are turning the castle back to its original silver and blue. Yay! It was a nice thing for the 50th. It did look nice, but the pink castle belongs in California. The silver castle belongs in Florida.
I mean, it did look nice, especially at night with everything all lit up.
Yes, but the silver is classic.
True.
Iconic.
It's iconic.
Yeah.
Think of the opening of any, Disney
movie.
The nice little montage. Anywho, so getting into things that we think have gone wrong. We're going to start out with a big one. The insane ticket prices. Ticket prices for Disney, at least in our lifetime, we have 2 millennials and a Gen Zer here. They've never been, cheap, so to say. But there was a time when they were a lot more affordable.
I mean, I don't know who else remembers this, but I remember seeing commercials where, the Walt Disney Company will actually send you, VHS tapes and, commercials telling you about all the deals that they had going on.
Yeah.
And it was really affordable for a family of 4 to go to the park and stay there for 3 or 4 nights and, have enough money to spend all day at the parks. Now it's almost like you got to open up a second bank account just to go for 3 days. I
mean, and this, not even talking about if you want to stay at one of the resorts, which, I highly recommend. I've always enjoyed that. But, Colin and I, the last time we went, we actually stayed at the Swan and Dolphin, which are technically not considered Disney resorts, but they are resorts. There's a whole grandfathered in Michigas. But Colin was just showing me a ticket price today, as of right now.
For a 3-day, 3-park ticket. So that's 3 people for 3 days. Right now, $267 per ticket.
No, Colin, that's not for 3 people. That's 1 person.
That's 1 per...
Okay.
That's for 3
It's
parks.
For 3 days, 3-park ticket.
That's even
$89 a day.
Now, Tori and I went to Disney World on our honeymoon, and we stayed at the Disney's Yacht Club, which is a more higher-end resort, I would say. And that cost me about, I paid for the majority of the honeymoon stuff. That cost me $7,000.
Yeah. So with this, here's the problem, Disney. You are pricing out the common man.
Yep.
I mean, everyone's budgets are getting tighter. Everyone's having to pinch pennies and tighten the belt. And it is just not affordable. I mean, family of 4 has to take out a second mortgage to go on vacation. I think we can all agree that is not what Walt had in mind.
Mm-mm.
Also, let's say it is just 1 person going to Disneyland and you want to go to a bunch of rides. Most of your time is going to be spent in those lines.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get to all the rides you want to get to in 3 days.
Yeah. I mean, you can, but
even if you do, that's it. That's all you're going to be doing. Because you're being in lines, doing the ride, maybe hitting up the gift shop for the ride, and then you're off to the next ride because you can't waste time. And then your entire day's done.
Yeah. I mean, it can be done. You can get there are people who there are people who do like as many Disney rides as you can in a day, and they make it challenges and things like that. And I think it's an insane schedule. And I mean, you both know when I go to Disney, I like a plan. I like a detailed itinerary.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not so bad that I have to schedule the bathroom breaks, but we have a detailed itinerary of where we're going to be at what time. The people who do all the rides in a single day, I don't know how they have any sanity.
And also, like, a lot of the people that do those sort of things, like the people that, do all the rides in one day, that they have TikTok accounts that they feature, like, everything that's going on at Disney parks throughout the year. Those people are not the common man. Those people either live in the area or they're annual pass holders, which, by the way, annual pass holders who do not live in Florida, that is $900 a year.
$900 a year. That's insane. But also for those people, that's their job. Mm-hmm. So, like, a park ticket is an expendable, like, they can write it off on their taxes as part of their job.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not our job. We do this for fun.
Yeah. Now, I will say, though, there are ways, and Disney is definitely helpful with you to find out the deals that you can take while at their parks.
Oh, yeah. Super shout out to anyone who works in guest or customer relations at Disney. Those people are the magic makers.
Yeah, the cast members at any of the Disney parks, they always go above and beyond for the guests, even if it's out of their wheelhouse. Like, for example, when Tori and I went on our honeymoon, Tori lost her luggage. We unfortunately did not know this because until the day we were leaving, we were dropping some stuff off at the mailing center in the hotel.
Because I didn't trust the airline to get our stuff back here.
And I just happened to mention it to one of the concierge people, and they're like, "Why didn't you tell us? We have a lot of pull at the Orlando airport. We could have contacted the airline and gotten your bag back for you."
Apparently they have a whole team of Disney people that handle that kind of stuff. But and another thing, kind of moving back to our main topic though, of the insane ticket prices and the pricing out of the common man, is something that we've lost along the years, and that is the lightning lane passes.
Yes. I remember when these things came out, the lightning lane was a game changer in the parks because, like Colin said at the beginning, you're going to be spending your entire day in line. So the Fast Pass was a game changer so that you wouldn't have to spend all day in line. You can just go at a certain time and then boom, you're in front of the line.
Mm-hmm. And then let's not forget the not wonderfulness that is Genie Plus.
Yeah.
The concept was there. The execution was terrible, and it was just another way for Disney to siphon more money out of people, because they did away with Lightning Lane, they did away with Fast Pass, and they were like, oh, if you want to do this stuff, then you have to get the Genie Plus app, which cost you a certain amount of money each day. And then anytime you wanted to use it, you had to pay an additional fee.
So, for those who don't know, like Tori said, Genie Plus was Disney's, I guess, updated in air quotes, version of the Fast Pass for the more digital age. So, like, you download the Genie Plus app, you have access to the majority of the rides at every park, and you gotta go in there. You have to be up at 7 a.m. when the parks open to get your pick of whatever time's available for the rides. However, unlike the original Lightning Lane, where it's like you have maybe a limit of 3 per park, This one, you can choose how many you want, but each time you use it, you have to pay $20.
And just pricing people out. And then I think one of the best examples of Disney shooting themselves in the foot, so to say, with pricing people out was Galaxy's Edge.
That was
the failed hotel.
Ridiculous.
You mean Galaxy Star Cruiser?
Or, I'm sorry, Galaxy Star Cruiser.
Yeah, because Galaxy's Edge is the name of the Star Wars land in Hollywood Studios.
Which is still going on, and it's a great addition. We love that addition.
Yeah, but the Star Cruiser, it was an amazing idea, and you priced it out because what? I think the initial price of it was $1,200 a night for one room.
The initial price was enough that I just looked at it and I looked at you and I said, "You don't need it."
No, I agree. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I didn't even say I don't want it.
Here's the thing. I understand that the park is enormous. All the parks are enormous. Probably. I've not been to Disneyland in California, but it's probably massive too. But regardless, that requires a lot of upkeep, a lot of money to upkeep it, a lot of people to upkeep and all that. But just because it requires a lot of money doesn't mean you have to increase there's a certain level of price where you start pricing out the common man. But if you get it down, more people will come to the park, and that's an influx of money still. So
I just think it was a risk, and I don't think it was a risk that they needed to be taking at that time, because that was also coming right out of COVID.
Yeah.
And, the rumor mill was churning that ticket sales for everything were down because everyone was stuck inside during COVID. But rather than making sure that the parks were ready once everything got released from COVID, they doubled down on doing things that were going to price out more people. And that is at the heart of it. When it comes down to money and price and things, that is the problem, I think, because Walt Disney said it. It's mentioned in a lot of biographies about him. He's quoted with this, that this park was not just for children. It was for everybody.
It was for the young and young at heart.
Yes. And, he was a average guy before he became the Walt Disney. He was from Missouri.
Backwoods Water, Missouri.
I mean, he was the guy who came, it's that, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Well, he pulled himself up by his mouse ears, but still, he would not have wanted, I think I can say this, that he would not have wanted any of his parks, anything that was tied to his company, his name, he would not have wanted to price out the common man. And now I'm not saying that everyone in the world is going to be able to go to Disneyland or Disney World. I'm not saying everyone's going to be able to afford it. I'm not saying that he would have made the ticket prices so that, you could pretty much get in for free, because he was a businessman. You do have to pay rent, people. Okay, he had to pay the rent too. Everyone's got to make money somehow. But when a family of 4 can't enjoy something like that, I think that's a huge red flag. I think that would have been a problem for him.
Yeah. Speaking of Walt Disney, this kind of leads into our next topic, which is draining the river, so to speak. So for those of you who don't know, one of the latest updates to Magic Kingdom is that they are draining the Tom Sawyer River and getting rid of the Liberty Bell to update it for a Cars Land ride.
Okay. I am the only one at this table that we're having this podcast at who has been to Disneyland. That being said, Disneyland has a Cars Land, Disney World does not. I liked Cars Land. It was nice. It had some great food options, and the Radiator Springs Raceway ride, which was the big ride in Cars Land, was super fun. Love that ride. Do I think that's worth draining the river, getting rid of the Liberty Bell, getting rid of Tom Sawyer's Island? No, I do not. I really don't. And counterpoint, we could have put it somewhere else.
Yeah. Now, with all this being said, Tom Sawyer's Island has been closed for a long time now. You cannot go on the island. It was not accessible as it used to be. Because when Disney World first opened, you could have explored the whole island.
Mm-hmm.
Now it can only bring you off to a port, and then you just have to go back on. Anyone can correct me if I'm wrong, but it just kind of seems like this is kind of like this is only the latest in erasing of a lot of the original rides when Walt Disney World first opened.
Oh yeah.
Because let's count them up. The only rides that are still around when Disney World first opened was the Carousel.
Mm-hmm.
The Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
Haunted Mansion technically wasn't open right when the park opened. It was in production, but it hadn't finished yet.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Classic.
The Jungle Cruise.
Also classic.
The Teacups.
Nauseating, but still classic.
I mean, you gotta fit Alice in Wonderland in there somewhere.
I mean, you do, but those, I mean, they're iconic. I enjoyed them as a kid. Now as an adult, past the Dramamine.
And Big Thunder Mountain.
Which is still good.
But that's it.
Yeah.
And, anyone who correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, so that's what, 6, 7 rides?
Yeah.
And everything else has been added later.
Added later, or things have been taken away or changed or rehashed, refurbed. And some of them have been for the better. I mean,
yes.
Some of them were definitely for the better. None of us were alive during the time of the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea ride.
No.
But from what I've heard, that one did need to go. The Alien ride, I know Colin is very, very mad that he never got to experience the Alien ride in Tomorrowland. But I think that at the end of the day, that ride would have been better to put in another park. Like maybe Hollywood Studios.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But we've lost so many classics. I mean, once again, having gone, I got to go to Disneyland this year for the first time in my life. I got to ride Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. I'm so mad we don't have that at Disney World. My whole life, it was never there. So I never got to experience it. And I was just like, oh, I don't care. La, 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 la. And then I got to experience it and I was like, why was this taken out of the park? This should have stayed. This should have been the ride. Now,
I do understand that they take stuff out to put new things in because they're a company. They come out with stuff every few years, revitalize the park, or they introduce new characters over the years. They think those characters should have rides.
Exactly.
Sure, go ahead, but you have to be careful with what you take and what you put in because it is a gamble on if that ride is going to be as accepted as whatever you replace it with.
Now, if anyone's listening to this who is a diehard Disneyland fan, we will be covering Disneyland at a later time. But here, let me explain one of the big issues that we have here at Disney World v. Disneyland with regards to what Colin is saying. Disneyland has a major problem with the fact that it is very locked in to where it is. They have a finite amount of space. They can't really grow much. Despite that, it's great. Disney World, they own so much more land than what they're using, which is actually, sometimes they do things right. They have announced Villain Land. Yay! We're all excited for Villain Land.
It's about time.
We've been asking for it. The fans have been asking for it. I feel like it's been asked for forever. And here's the best news. They're not getting rid of anything to make it. They are expanding and building out the park.
Yeah, and speaking of that expansion, like the expanded Fantasyland that they built, about a decade ago, with like the Be Our Guest restaurant, the Little Mermaid area, Dumbo
Chef's Kiss.
Storybook Circus. Dumbo is one of my all-time favorite Disney movies, so to see Dumbo get that amount of love was really amazing to see. So like that stuff is really, really great.
Yeah.
But with now going back to what Colin was saying though for a minute, you know, you got to update stuff with new movies, new characters, things like that. But here's the thing. Instead of, you know, for Cars Land at Magic Kingdom, instead of draining the river, why not get rid of the Tomorrowland Speedway?
Which has been in need of a refurb for my whole life.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it kind of just seems like very, very slow go-karts.
Exactly what it is.
So it's just like, you already have the track, just expand upon it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's got a lot of land to it. So I think that would have been a better location for Cars Land. And then you could have kept the iconic Liberty Bell. And I mean, if they want to get rid of Tom Sawyer's Island, they want to get rid of Tom Sawyer's Island. You know, beggars can't be choosers. But the riverboat was just it's just a moment. Like, it used to be featured in all the old Disney World commercials. I remember the first time I went with my mom and dad, and my dad was like, we are absolutely going on the riverboat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and who can blame him? It's great because you get, you know, just a little trot around the river, you get to see a lot of things, and there's a slight breeze, not a lot of breeze, but a slight breeze, but it's a nice, like, little, just enjoyable thing that's not standing in the sun in the hot, you know, sun for a line for a ride, and it's not paying $20 for a corn dog.
Yeah.
Also, if you really want to get rid of Tom Sawyer's Island for something, put a water thing there.
Yeah.
Don't drain the water.
And there is on that, going back to what I was saying earlier, Walt and Roy Disney were from Missouri. Tom Sawyer takes place in Missouri. Spoiler if you haven't read the book. But that's kind of like a great little nod. And there were so many great little nods. Like, there still are so many great nods in the park to their background and their lives growing up.
I mean, just take a walk down Main Street, USA, and look at the windows.
It's wonderful.
All the windows on Main Street are plays on, you know, famous people that the Disney, you know, Walt and Roy and just the company in general have had a hand in working with, or were a big instrumental factor into building the company.
Yeah. Now, going back to something you were saying here a little while ago, with the expansions that they did of Fantasyland and some of the things they did, one thing that, at least for a lot of millennials, was a big don't do that, was they got rid of Toontown. That's right. If you are a Disneyland person and you are listening to this, Disney World does not have Toontown. Disneyland still has Toontown. I'm just saying.
Yeah, so like, and for those of you that never experienced it, Toontown was the place where you can meet Mickey, Minnie, Goofy, Donald, Daisy, Chip and Dale, all the iconic Disney, the major Disney characters that we all know.
Have you ever wondered what Minnie's dining room table looked like? I've seen it.
Or what Goofy's garage looked like.
It was so great, and it wasn't just for the little kids. I mean, I know when they were doing the original concept for it, it was probably going to be the design for, this is where the teeny tiny tots are going to spend their time at the park. Because there's not a lot for teeny tiny tots.
Mm-hmm.
But whether you were a teeny tiny tot or you were a fully grown adult, I mean, our mom has the best first time she saw Mickey story. So the first time my mom went to Disney World, she was an adult, I was a child. We're there, and we are walking somewhere, and we come around the corner, and she sees the Mickey ears off in the distance. She sees the mouse. She takes off running and just leaves my dad standing there holding on to me and my cousin. She just left us. She left us for the mouse. And I mean, can you blame her? No, because she grew up in the time of the iconic Disney company. I mean, she grew up with the original Mouseketeers. She was a child when the parks were being finished. I mean, yeah. So you better believe that my mom made sure that we went to Toontown. Now, granted, we did not see Mickey at Toontown. That was not that moment. We were somewhere else where we saw Mickey for the first time. But then when she found out there was a Toontown, she was like, oh no, we're going to go see Mickey's house and we're going to see Minnie's house and Tori's going to walk around and she's going to enjoy this whole thing. And it was wonderful because you feel like you are in the cartoon.
Yeah.
It is one of the best things they did to make the cartoons come alive.
And, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but, like, you know, we're also growing up, we're also part of the Disney afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
That, you know, 3-hour cartoon block where you had, like, DuckTales, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, Darkwing Duck. Those characters also made appearances in Toontown. And it's just like, those are really the only spot where you can meet those characters. Mm-hmm. And now these characters only come out for maybe
Halloween
or an anniversary special, or even like the Run Disney Marathon occasionally.
Yeah.
That's it. So it's just like, and like Tori said, you're literally going into the cartoon, and what kid or what person wouldn't love to immediately jump into their favorite Disney cartoon?
Yeah. All right. Enough nostalgia moment there for us.
Do you want to go on to the... I know.
Okay.
We've kind of touched on this before, but a big problem right now is that they're changing out a lot of classics for new stuff. And I said, yeah, you do need to do that. You need to update things to, you know, keep with the current run of things. But again, say someone wants to go on a ride. They saved up several years. They're going. And, oh, well, it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I will say, and Colin kind of touched base with this, so ultimately what we're talking about here is changing out the classics for things that no one asked for. That's what we're talking about.
No offense to Cars. It was a good movie.
Yeah, no offense to Cars.
I enjoyed the movie. I didn't see the second or third one, but I enjoyed the first one. But I hear, oh, we're removing this and putting Cars Land there. And I think, oh, okay, weird choice, but...
I feel like this topic is going to come back, especially more so when we talk about Hollywood Studios, aka MGM.
Yeah.
Because
if you know, you know.
Yeah, that one. I mean, there's already a whole row of things I could talk about there, but without getting too political, and without getting too, touching base on things, I will agree. Updates need to be made. Things need to be changed. I am actually very excited to see some of the changes that will be coming with like the Encanto area at Animal Kingdom. And of course I'm here for Villainland. But let's talk about big one. We changed out Splash Mountain for Tiana's River at Bayou.
Yeah.
Okay. First off, love the beignets.
Yes.
Keep those coming. We love the beignets.
Yeah.
My problem with the ride, it has no story. So we haven't actually gotten to go on it in real life. We have, however, watched the ride on Disney Plus. If you don't know, certain rides that are at Disneyland, you can watch on Disney Plus to get the ride at home experience. I think this is actually a really good idea for like if you have small children who might be like, I'm going to be scared to go on a ride, because then you're showing them it's not that scary. My problem with Tiana's Bayou Adventure, there's no story. I mean, the overall story is we're traveling through the bayou to get to the party. Okay, that's not it's not like a retelling of the movie. It's not like I mean, Justin, what was the one thing you wanted? You wanted that big going up the hill.
Yeah. So like, you know, for those of you that rode Splash Mountain, you all know what it is. That big climbing up that big hill. You know, the vultures from the thorn patch are watching you, and then you just drop down that big slide.
It's the fall. It is the fall.
It is the fall. That was the best part of Splash Mountain. Now,
that's debatable.
But what I thought they were going to do, and what I still think they should do, is, you know, for that part, you know, in order to build anticipation, they should have played the last part of Friends from the Other Side. Because imagine you're going up that hill, all of a sudden you hear the drums going, and then Dr. Facilier says, "Are you ready? Are you ready?"
And then drop.
Yeah.
That would have been amazing.
Or, you know, we could have had that Emperor's New Groove ride that's been going around the memes for years.
And that's almost its own thing, is characters who don't have areas of parks but are totally entitled to getting one.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, Typhoon Lagoon just had their Cusco-topia celebration. Why isn't this a thing all the time?
Because, again, imagine going up that big hill. You just build anticipation, and then as soon as you get to the top, you hear Yzma. Pull the lever, Crunk. Run, lever! We're going now.
Although I do think I would actually... So previously, I have said that I would have preferred they had done Splash Mountain as either Pocahontas or Emperor's New Groove. However, I'm going to change that, and I think that Emperor's New Groove should have its own thing at one of the places like Typhoon Lagoon, where they just did the Cusco-topia thing, but it needs its own ride. You know, one of those things, like those water things where you sit inside the tube and then they have the floor fall out from under you?
Yeah.
I've never had a desire to do one of those because I am a giant scaredy cat. But if I was in the tube and all I heard was Eartha Kitt's "Pull the lever, Crunk," and as I was going down, "Run, lever," I think that would make me forget that I'm scared.
I mean, they even say in the movie when, you know, Cusco is showing Cusco-topia to Pacha, he's like, "Booyah! Welcome to Cusco-topia, complete with water slide."
Exactly. So I know I previously said that I wish they had done that for Splash Mountain, but I think ultimately it needed an upgrade, but it needs a better story.
Yeah, because love it or hate it, the story of Brer Rabbit, Brer Bear, and Brer Fox, you are going through the story of Brer Rabbit escaping Brer Bear and Brer Fox, and then all of a sudden, and then when Brer Rabbit escapes, then we have a party at the swamp.
Yeah. But some other... Oh, yes, Colin.
One thing is, because this change happened after the last time I went to Disney World. Mm-hmm. And I just looked this up, found out they have it in Disneyland, but not in Disney World. I would have loved to go to Tiana's Palace and have some food there.
Oh, yeah.
But no, she gets a ride. Not the restaurant that she spent the entire movie trying to get.
Wait, they didn't put the restaurant in Disney World?
Nope.
It's Disney World!
It's in Disneyland, but not in Disney World. They gave her the ride.
It was
but
right
not the restaurant.
there.
I mean, that is like the whole point
You missed.
of Princess and the Frog.
He was right in front of you, and you missed.
Yeah.
So let's add that to the list. Things that Disney got wrong. Where's Tiana's Palace at Disney World?
I mean, come on. Who wouldn't want to go on, you know, Tiana's Bayou Adventure and then go to Tiana's Palace for breakfast and get some beignets?
Beignets are an any time of day food.
Well, okay.
But
I get what you're saying. But they're an any time of day food.
But like, anyway, so like you go on Tiana's Bayou Adventure and then you go to Tiana's Place, which is the restaurant, and get some, you know, Southern comfort food.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they need to do that.
But with all that being said, I do think that we kind of touched on it a little bit. We do need to talk about what they're doing right.
Yes. With everything that they have done wrong, especially in recent years, because every time you turn on entertainment news, it seems like they're doing something wrong. Mm-hmm. But with everything that has gone wrong, some things that have gone right.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of touched on these things before, as the episode went on.
Coming soon, Disney, your Villain Land.
Yeah, Villain Land.
That was actually really good.
That was really good to laugh.
Really
but yeah, I mean, that was D23 last year. Like, we got to the end of that panel, and then all of a sudden you hear da-na-na, da-na-na, and then they're like, we're doing Villain Land. Everyone lost their minds when that was announced.
Everybody started planning, making their plans, updating their, making sure they had all their flight points saved up.
Yeah, I mean, with every new update, it just seems like this park is getting better and better and better. I mean, D23 is happening right now, day 2, and they said that like the architecture design for Villain Land is basically like Art Nouveau from Paris, France. And I mean, and said the head designer said like it looks like a hex has been put on the town where the villains reside. I mean, how cool is that?
Some other things that I think that Disney has gotten right. Disney is embracing the 90s nostalgia. It actually hurts me to say that phrase, 90s nostalgia, because I was born in 91. My husband was born in 90. That is our childhood, and people are calling it vintage. That hurts.
Oh, my heart.
It really hurts. But I love that they're embracing it. I mean, they just had this thing where I saw the video, they had the voice actors for the Disney princesses who are still around. They had them come out and they did this wonderful princess performance with the voice actors on stage and the princess characters doing this wonderful little dance. And it was so good. And it was like this level of magic, and like, just like for a minute you can forget all the evil and badness of the world. That is classic, iconic Disney.
Yeah, and kind of going off of the 90s nostalgia here, I mean, last year was the 30th anniversary of A Goofy Movie. And A Goofy Movie is another one of my favorites. Mm-hmm. And, for that anniversary, they had not only the voice actors come on and sing On the Open Road, but they had Max, Goofy, and Powerline as costume characters doing eye to eye at a concert at Hollywood Studios. I mean, how cool is that to see Powerline, which is something that they really should just have that be a permanent show, but I digress. But how cool is it to see that 30 years later?
But it does seem like there are some people on the Disney team who are understanding that the people who were kids when A Goofy Movie came out, or when the Aristocats came out, or when
like The Little Mermaid.
The Little Mermaid came out. All these great movies. These people are now the adults with all the money.
Yeah.
They're the ones who are slowly introducing the next generation. I mean, there's a shirt, there's a Spirit jersey that I saw recently that has the cats of Disney. And I heard somebody saying that this was the first piece of wearable merch that ever featured Oliver from Oliver and Company.
Although, to be fair, they did pick the worst picture.
Yeah, they picked the worst.
What picture was it?
It's the one where his fur's all puffed out after he gets wet.
And he has like that look on his face where it's just like, really?
But, I mean, that is such an underappreciated Disney movie.
Yeah.
And it's a classic tale, and that ultimately, when Disney remembers their roots, when they remember that it all started with a mouse, that it all started telling classic stories with feel-good moments. The whole idea is to let people come into the parks, suspend reality, forget about whatever is going on outside the park walls, and create a place of magic where, a kid's opinion is just as valid as an adult's. And of course, parrots talk. And of course, rabbits are running late. And of course, cutlery sings at your dinner table. That's entirely plausible. And I think it's when Disney remembers those moments that they do things right.
And it goes back to Walt's original message, because Walt built Disneyland, and then eventually he was going to build Disney World to the point where everyone can go and, like Tori said, just spend a few minutes and forget the world outside. The whole origin for it was he was at an amusement park with his children, and the children were having fun, but the adults were bored out of their minds waiting for their kids to get off the ride. And he wanted to create a place where everyone can have fun. And like Tori said, the kids that were around when all that stuff started are now the adults, and they want to bring their kids because this was nostalgic to them. So it's definitely something that when they get it right, they get it right.
When they get it wrong, man.
So it's just like, it's either the highest high or the lowest low. Unfortunately, there's no in between, at least not within the last few years.
I was going to say, when we have it in between, we get the birthday cake castle, but that was also a low. That was very low.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. But
when Disney World turned 25, the Magic Kingdom, they redesigned it to look like a birthday cake.
that was my first trip that I remember going on, and I was just like, what is happening? But another thing that they got right was, in terms of just the park, is the theming of their hotels and their restaurants.
Oh, yeah.
Because, one thing that when Tori and I were planning on honeymoon, one thing that she desperately wanted to do, and we did, was the Polynesian breakfast at the Polynesian Resort.
This is not a sponsored podcast in any way, shape, or form, but if you have the chance, make your breakfast reservations for the Polynesian. It is a great breakfast.
Yeah. It was.
I mean, even the all-star resorts, like the all-star movies, all-star sports, Port Orleans, the Animal Kingdom Lodge, the theming of the hotel. I mean, just going to the hotel is an adventure in itself. I mean,
there are people who travel to Disney and all they do is resort hop. They just go from one resort to another.
Because each resort has its own, not only its own theming, but its own restaurants, its own shows, and all sorts of different extras that you don't get anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, the theming of just even where you stay is top notch. And again, this also goes to the cast members, because the rooms are always clean. The customers the concierge is always helpful. Even the like the maid staff and the people that work in the laundry room,
who you'll almost never see.
You'll never see while you're there, but like they'll fold your towels to make it look like a little Dumbo or a little Mickey, and just that attention to detail is just so amazing. So again, we've said it quite a few times now, but it's just like, when they get it right, they get it right, and it's those little moments that make the magic worth it.
So I think the next segment of the next time we talk about this, about what's going on at Disney, I think the next one we should talk about is Hollywood Studios, aka MGM. I'm sure that's going to be its own talking point.
Yeah.
But that will be at a later date. For now, I think we need to start wrapping it up here.
Yeah. Just a reminder, join us next week where we'll be doing a teaser for the upcoming discussion at Arkansas Comic-Con on September 13th. We will be discussing Disney villains who were right. Hey, we're doing an actual theming here. Also, just a heads up, if you like what you're hearing, please feel free to subscribe so that you get notified on when new rants and ramblings are released. We will release new podcast episodes every Wednesday.
Also, feel free to hit like and subscribe, or leave us a comment if there's something that you want to hear our take on.
Yeah, feel free to let us know. All right, well, I think that's it. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye.